So power. Today we talk about power. Of course, we've been talking about other of the 8 aspects of God, and this is one of the aspects of God. And I found that usually people want peace, they want joy. Occasionally, people want wisdom. Often, people are afraid of power, and I think I know why. And this is a story that Swamiji tells. That he met a girl who was a beggar at the railway station in Howrah, near Kolkata. And he said this girl was putting out her hand at this railway station and begging. And she had this look in her eye that was, why am I doing this? That I'm much above this. And when Swamiji looked into her eyes, and Swamiji would speak very casually as if he wasn't sure about things, but he was, he knew. He said he felt that she had been a queen in her past life and that she'd been greedy, and that with that power and money that came with that position, that she did not use that to help other people. And so her next incarnation, karma hit and brought her back down. And she then was found that she had no money because she had not given money to others when she was in the position to do so. By the way, to give money just blindly or stupidly to others also can be very bad karma. Anandamoy Ma said that if you give money to a beggar and he goes out and gets drunk, you are getting bad karma for that. So I'm not just saying we give money however indiscriminately, but that we have to give appropriately. So I assume that all of us have had incarnations up and down on this one topic of money, and money and power are certainly interrelated, and that we haven't done the best job with it, and that it's kicked us down a few notches in our next incarnation when we reincarnate. And so we get a little worried about that. Of course, there's the story of Hazrat and the man who had his uh, uh, powers, spiritual powers, that he misused in the autobiography of a yogi. Um, I believe this is a true story that Ramakrishna Paramahansa told Vivekananda, along the way, I've developed a few powers. Do you want them? And Vivekananda said, first he said, are they going to help me find God more quickly? And Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, no. And Vivekananda said, no, thanks. You can keep your powers. Just help me get to God as soon as possible. It's a very interesting story. I know also, though, that it takes power to find God. So that Vivekananda, he may not have developed certain outward powers that we would say are miraculous, but that he had the inward power in order to realize who he truly was. And so we need to not be afraid of power. And we need to have that same discrimination as Vivekananda had, to realize what we truly want and what is truly needed. But it will take power to find God. There's just no way around that. So don't be afraid of that. And also understand that this power, it's given by God, it's given by the Guru, and that God and Guru will not give us that which is not good for us or that we are not ready for. They might give us a little, and then we fall a little bit, but they have their eyes on the big picture. And just like a parent who raises a child might give a child something that's a little bit too much for him or her, and knows it's not going to go 100%, but knows that then with one more try and a little bit more encouragement, that the child will make it next time, and that the child is going to be strengthened through this. Master would talk about if you were a wrestler. I don't think I'm talking to anyone who's doing wrestling here, but you just never know. I used to wrestle when I was a young man, And if a wrestler goes and wrestles with a weaker wrestler, he won't get stronger. But if he wants to be the best, then he will go and choose opponents that are stronger than him. And if you're a wise wrestler, you choose one who's just a little bit stronger than you, and you keep at it and you get stronger. And then you choose another opponent who's just a little bit stronger, and you keep getting stronger. And Master said that's what this life is all about, that these tests are coming not to crush us, but to strengthen us and to strengthen our willpower. That, well, the word we're talking about is power. And normally we hear the word will and power, we hear them go together. And that we ultimately will learn how to draw an infinite amount of power and be able to channel it with will. Swamiji tells us that willpower and love are like two opposite sides of one coin. That we cannot grow our willpower very, very strong without growing an appropriate or not getting the word that I want, but corresponding amount of devotion and love also. Last night we were having a class and we were talking about Master's human side as well as his divine side, and how that was hard for Swamiji to put together. It's hard for anyone who knows a true saint to put that together. But one thing I saw Swamiji once scolding someone very much, and it wasn't this, but I felt that it was like one hand was reaching out from his heart chakra to that other man's heart chakra, and it was like, I love you. And the other hand was like, don't do that. And so this poor man that was being scolded was like, oh. But he also was, he wanted to take that scolding. And it was a rough one. But and it was rough for me. I was in the room and I felt like, oh, this is kind of rough. But Swamiji had that, and he would give that if the other person wanted it. What did that mean, the other person wanted it? Means the other person's heart was open to receive that simultaneous love of that coin that I was talking about. So as we realize that we need power in order to find God, we also have to increase our devotion. And the best way to do that is make it one-pointed, increase our devotion to Master, and just try to be loving him everywhere. And then if we need to be stern and we need to show this aspect of power, then we'll do it in an appropriate way. I'll tell you one more interesting personal story. There's somewhere in our teachings, I'm just not going to put my mind on that detail, a story of where Master was scolding someone, and then he'd turn around and he was walking down the hallway and he was smiling at the other person, and then turn around and scolding. And the man who was getting the smiles said, you would have thought the roof would have flown off. And so I thought, I'm going to try this. So we had a construction project going on, and there were some laborers, and I felt like they just weren't doing the right stuff. And this was a disaster because I got all pretending to be angry. Actually, Bara was there. And so the disaster was, if you try to be angry and it has to be translated, that doesn't work so well. The translator just is like, that doesn't work. But then the other part was, so then I was turning around and smiling. I'm pretty sure it was Bara. Sometimes, sorry, Bara, I love you, but get him and his brother confused. But I'm pretty sure it was Bara. And I was smiling and I was like, I'm not mad. This is just a show. And Bara, I don't know if those are tears of joy or sadness, but so I have much to learn in emoji land. Then I turned back around and I was yelling, and I turned back and I was smiling. I felt afterwards that night as I was meditating that I didn't have what Master had, that perfect control of my heart chakra, of my energy. I mean, I didn't feel mad or out of sorts or whatever, but I just felt a little off still. And I felt like I'm not ready for these big Master games that they play, and that I'm going to err a little bit more on the side of just sensitivity and love until I can develop that love even stronger and do what needs to be done. So anyway, you will figure out your balance of willpower, of the power that's going to flow through you, and um, and your devotion and that loving side. And we have to grow both of these sides. You know, I was just in a different class, and the teacher in that class was talking about observing other people, and the class was on magnetism. Um, and I often observe other people. I think it's a good practice if we do it not with judgmental from a point of ego where I'm so much better than this guy or I'm so much worse from this guy, but just to watch people and see what works in life, and notably what behaviors work. And I always love the older gentleman or older woman who has a lot of power in this world. I remember I was a young man and I was at some get together and I was just socializing and I asked this older gentleman just casually, so what do you do, just to strike up conversation? Oh, not much. I have a little business with garments. And I came to find out that he was one of the biggest guys in India with the garment business. And it just struck me, the more people I meet that really truly have power, they're so quiet that it's some silent river that just quietly flows through them. And the people who are loud and boisterous, that they're usually the ones who are just putting on a show, but they don't actually have that. And it almost goes into all of these 8 aspects weaving themselves together, that we need to have that peace, that calmness in order to have power. We need to have that inner joy in order to have this power as well. But it's also shown me that in observing people that there's people without power and they talk a lot, maybe, if they even have that much power to talk, but they don't get anything done in this world. And then there's other people who don't talk that much, and they're the ones who get a lot done. And so we just get to decide who we want to be. So it's all right to observe people, just don't do it with a spirit of judgment. The last thing I'm going to read something from AY that I find fascinating. And that is, the body of the average man is like a 50-watt lamp, which cannot accommodate the billion watts of power roused by an excessive practice of Kriya. Through gradual and regular increase of the simple and foolproof methods of Kriya, man's body becomes astrally transformed day by day and is finally fitted to express the infinite potentials of cosmic energy, the first material active expression of spirit. I find this fascinating. I urge everyone to reread and reread the chapter in Autobiography of a Yogi on Kriya Yoga. I've been sizing different things out of the monastery hermitage land, water pumps and whatnot. And your AC that might be in your house that you might use, that might take 3,000 watts, 2,000, 3,000 watts. And that's like a heavy load on a house. And Master's saying 1 billion watts by Kriya. Something definitely to meditate on, think about. It's my turn to hand it over to Premdas. Thank you all. It's a joy to be here.
Thank you, Jamal. Always a joy to hear. So I think welcome everyone. So today's topic is power. I think I'll just pick where Jamalji was saying about power having these 2 aspects of the 2 aspects of coin. In sense like this, also this, sometimes well, expressing about personalities, we have this both male personality, female personality, and how willpower and feeling aspect and everything goes. If you have both in one, it's something different. And Master's personality had that qualities. And today I'll just touch on a few of the stories from Master's life, which expressed his power as the strong power, also this humor side, and also this power with which he could win all the hearts and with which he could lead his team or army or all different things he did during his different incarnations. So I'm just going to pick up here. So I was watching this Swamiji's video on how we express this thing, because when Master came in early 1920s, it was not a time when it was so calm. It was the time when the World War had ended. Women were given the first time the right to vote. And it was the time jazz culture and people figuring it out, and the economic boom was happening and people were figuring it out. And suddenly there is this person with his orange robes, silk clothes, and many people were not sure, was he a man or a woman? And then he was walking on the streets with this dark skin. And even now, you all know, even now it's tough to be sometimes dark skinned in some European countries or maybe US. And now he's dark skinned and he's teaching all these things, and many people are already feeling it, because he has this magnetic charisma and the personality and the truth and the bliss. And all these people who are maybe colored and they don't have all these things are feeling it. And he was also on the watch list of all this FBI, all these agencies for like 10 years. So this is the personality, and he walks into it whenever his lecture happens. He used to fill the halls as what bread, like 5,000 people. Even now to get 5,000 to a lecture is something, but then 1920s on a topic of yoga, healing and energy and healing your body, mind and soul. Yeah, what it would be like. Yeah, just feel it. Like we are in one of his lectures and he's coming to the lecture with his hair flowing, and he says, he would not speak till the people were awake and ready. He would not start it. He would ask, how feels everyone? How are you? And then when everybody are awake and ready, only then he would start his lecture. And there's also this fun incident where I saw from this video, Swamiji, where like two people during his lecture were getting up to walk away. And he says, sit down, you're never going to hear such a lecture again in your lifetime. What are you doing? And just think of that power and the magnetism, and also the love with which he's expressing those two souls, that you don't run away somewhere. Stay calm, don't be so restless. There is some truth. There's a lot of power and truth here. So this is all how Master in his this thing during his early days in America. And then now I'll go to this joy, calmful, humor side also of Master. So once Master used to wear his orange robes during his lectures, it said, mostly during his lectures. During other times, he used to dress normally, like whatever was appropriate during that time. So once somehow he was still wearing his orange robes, and he was sitting in a train. And he was sitting in a train, and there was an Orthodox, some minister from some sect. He came to this carriage was there, and he was full of this emotion and making sure everyone goes to heaven and not hell, I think. So he goes to Master and he says, do you believe in Jesus Christ? And Master says calmly, yes, I do. And now he's not satisfied. He really wants to bring it out. He says, do you believe that Jesus Christ is the only savior? And Master, who knows the truth, calmly says, I believe God is the only savior, and God has many masters, or he works through many masters through whom they help all their devotees. And this person is not satisfied, and he goes again, you believe, or it's more like, are you going to hell? If you're not going to, do you believe that Jesus Christ, let me see properly what is the exact sentence like. I think it's like, unless you accept Jesus Christ as the only savior, you will go to hell, is what he says. And Master says, and at this time, the whole train carriage, this is like entertainment for them also. They're all paying their ears, they're all listening to what's happening here. And then Master, in a calm voice, in a gentle smile, he says, I may get there by and by, my friend. You're already there. I may get there by and by, but you're already there. And the whole carriage starts laughing, and they already know that heaven and hell happen here in our reality. When the joy, all these qualities are there, it's the heaven. And when we have this anger, and when we have all the other qualities which pull our consciousness downward, that's when the hell is, whatever qualities manifest there. So this was one thing that came to my mind. Then one more story similar. During this time, it was tough for him. Even now, I think Orthodox people really think during that time that people are going to go to hell and we are condemned for eternity. And there was one more incident where I think this father of a child, he truly believes that you're condemned to eternity sometimes. So what happens, master is trying to win his heart over with his power, and he knows this time again it's the heart power that is needed, but to wake his bulb up or light on his bulb. So what happens in this incident, master says, do you have a son? And master could read with his intuition, and he says yes. So do you sometimes feel not so good with your son, or does he makes any mistakes? And he says yes. Sometimes he gets drunk and comes to house, and master says, I have a cure for you. And he says, okay, I'm ready, please tell me. And he tells him, so do you have an oven in your house? Okay, I have an oven. Why do you need that? No, just wait. Okay, and does it have a big door? He says, yes. What are you thinking? And master says, no, just wait. So next time when your son comes drunk, why don't you take him and push him inside the oven and close the door? And this person freaks out. He says, what are you saying? He's my son. And he starts going on. And then master calmly, then in a smile in his heart, he says, okay, now you being father of your son, you don't want your son to go to this small hell, this oven. And now you think God, who is the manifestation of love, wants all of us to go to hell. And then the person slowly realizes that God is also like this human father, like father to all of us, and how would he think of sending us to hell? So this is one more incident that came to my brain, and this I think should give us the reassurance that God is looking after us and he's there to protect us, and he wants us all to rise up, and he'll give us the strength, and he'll not give us any challenges which we can't do at that moment. The only challenges he'll give us, the challenges which we are able to do, and he'll give us the power also to do with it. So that's the beauty of it. So one more now, I'm just going into the power aspect, maybe. Yeah, this thing. And maybe the power, intuition, and the willpower, and how the point of spiritual life plays a part in here, and how we can all develop this aspect. So now there is also Swami Kriyanandaji, when he was 19 years old, let's say he was going on this visit. So he was visiting New Mexico, I think New Mexico City, and he had gone off there, and his parents were in Romania. So what happened, somehow a bad health came upon him, like some viruses and bronchitis and dysentery, tonsillitis sort of thing. Many things happened to him at the same time. So he fell ill, and after 2 days, he had even the strength to walk to a doctor. And so he went to the hospital, and doctor says, friend, you will have to stay at least for 2 weeks in the hospital. And Swamiji knows now, his reality during when he was 19 was that he did not have too much money back then. He did not want to write to his uncle or something, because it was something not in his nature to ask for it. So what happened, he knew, and he found out from the compartment that only few days is what he really has the money for. And so he took a different recourse to his treatment. So what he did was, he said, I'm going to be well. So what happened, he was in the hospital, but at the same time, he was focusing, and he was in his mind saying, I'm going to be well. And with the power and with the affirmation and with his power, he was able to, at end of 2 days, he was able to walk out of the hospital. But also Swamiji says, with a gentle smile while explaining this incident, he also during that time had little stupidity. So what he did, the first thing, he comes out of hospital and he eats a banana split. I'm guessing it's the ice cream, or which is not really recommended after you have a decent tea and everything. But he said at 19 he was fine. Sometimes at the age of 19, when you're young, you get away with these small things, and that's how, yeah. So how this power of just by affirming, and how it changed this power, how it changed him. So I think now we can try a small exercise. What I'll do is I'll just lead you in this small practice. Maybe we'll all try to experience a little bit of this. So what we'll do is, let's tense our body with a double inhalation. Relax and feel. Let's do this few times. Feel the power, the divine power, the master, the power of a master, how he used to be in his lecture halls, filling us, awakening all ourselves. And now start inhaling. Let's do maybe one round of even count breathing. Let's inhale for 10 counts. Hold. Exhale. And this time, what we'll do different is, keep your eyes closed. What we'll do is, while holding, we'll keep our attention at the spiritual eye, and we'll try to hold for a little longer time. Just inhale normally with a deep breath. Let's inhale together. And now let's hold the breath and keep the focus at spiritual eye and count for like 15 counts this time. Bringing the energy at the spiritual eye, magnetizing that point. Slowly exhale. This time we'll try for 20 counts. Slowly exhale. And now inhale again. And as you hold the breath, try to hold it and focus at the spiritual and count for 20 counts. After you do your counts, slowly exhale. This time, let's try for even like 25 to 30 counts. Let's inhale and then hold the breath at the spiritual eye. After you're able to hold comfortably, you can exhale. Now let go of this technique. Just sit in silence, like inhale and exhale normally as it is happening. Now get your mind, concentration, everything at the spiritual eye. And there, we'll just use this 3 words. I am well. Just keep repeating, I am well at this point. Just feel that you're giving energy and it's spiraling, and you're giving energy continuously again and again. Repeat this maybe 10 times. I am well. I am well. I am. Feel the blessings of the Master filling you. Slowly open your eyes. Yeah. So this was a technique again. I heard from Swamiji where you just keep focusing, and you can also try this again in your free time and whenever you need this. So thank you again. It was a joy being with all of you.